What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls podcast coming up for y'all right around the corner. Today, more NBA Draft Combine interviews that took place right here in Chicago. We're talking about some Bulls fan favorite names that they might be targeting first or second round. We're talking about the Illini products, Jakucionis and Will Riley. We're going to talk Rasheer Fleming, plus the big man from down under, Rocco Zikarsky. All coming up next. Did you say go, Katie? What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome to the CHGO Bulls podcast, coming to you from our CHGO studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls _ Peck. That's me, Dave. Bam. BNWL Sports. Will Go Gottlieb, perfectly guaffed. Will _ Gottlieb, and the queen of the controls. The one and only Katie W. What up, Katie?
What was that, Will?
Bow.
Bow.
Yeah.
Bow.
That's what we can expect from the GOAT.
Bow.
Show number 2. I can't be going all out.
Woo woo. Speaking of,
yeah,
I think I said live in that cold intro. Force of habit, muscle memory. Well, this is not live. This is our Friday show dropping at the usual time, but we are recording it later on Thursday afternoon because of scheduling complications tomorrow. So if asteroid hits Earth at 4:35 Central Time while you're watching this and we're still here, that's why.
Shout out.
Shout out to the asteroid. Just get here
Not
already.
the asteroid, but for you actually being here.
Oh, no, I was shouting out the asteroid.
Oh, I know. I heard you loud and clear.
Ready for it.
You've been ready for it. Since I met you, you've been ready.
Yeah.
I know.
That's 6 going on 7 years long now, Dave.
That's true. That's true. It's
I
very
have been
true.
ready for that asteroid the whole time.
Don't listen to him, asteroid.
My
It's true.
affairs are in order. All right. So today, to round out the week, busy week, NBA Draft Combine on the heels of the lottery. We know the Bulls are drafting 12th unless they make a move up or down on draft night. But for the time being, we are talking about all these prospects who came through Chicago to do their measurables, to do some scrimmaging, to do some skills, and to talk to the media. Yes, exactly.
Shuttle runs.
And Dave and Goat, you guys were there for the draft combine on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
Just before we dive into our first player, overall thoughts, reflections. I mean, Dave, this was, I think, your first time as a media member at Combine.
Yeah.
You have a good time?
Oh, I had a blast. I told all my stories yesterday in overtime. So if you want to hear stories from draft and how Will White Man to be, you go ahead and check that one out. That's when you say somebody big time.
I wasn't here for that.
Oh, you weren't here for that one?
Yeah, we had Sarah with us on Wednesday.
I'll say you white man me sometime. I've said that about many a day. But yeah, that's how but it was all a joke. It was all in jest. Will didn't know he was doing it, but I knew when it happened, oh yeah, I'm going to mess with Will about this one. But basically he ignored something I said and gave me the winking the gun and the slap on the arm. It was like, I'm out of here. And I was like, wait, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, he hit me with the little fella. That's a classic.
And I walked away. And
you know what I mean? Right? That's what he did, right?
I grittied up the stairs and did too small.
You did this when you were ready to swing. Yo, man, yeah.
I said, but you, Dave.
That's right. All that. Loud, too. But it was great.
I
had
hate
a great
you.
time. Yeah.
You're not my friend.
And then he cried.
I cried.
But it was great. I had a blast. I had a great time. It was a lot of fun doing that for the very first time.
Fell in love with Cedric Coward.
Cedric Coward is the man.
Yep.
Draft him tomorrow. Again, shout out Rob Pelinka. Talk to him. That was cool. And Shams.
Pick 12.
Shout out to him as well. Yeah, man. But all the media members we met and
Just had to throw in another Pelinka flex, didn't you?
Yeah, just
had to.
It's the people I met. It was a lot of people I met. I don't have to go over it again. You just go check it out on Thursday, man. And yeah, it was fun though. I had a blast. I would like to do that again. It was great.
So we've covered a lot of ground over the past week's worth of episodes. A lot of players that spoke at media or at the media availability of the combine. Talked a little Malwatch, a little Queen, and several others yesterday. Today, we're going to talk about some guys we haven't talked about as much yet who are frequently brought up among Bulls fans on social media when they're talking draft picks, including maybe a second-round target. So let's start with somebody I don't think have talked about at all, or only other than a brief mention in passing, Rasheer Fleming. Projected currently on most mock drafts to go first round, but towards the back of the first round, maybe the low 20s. A 3-year player out of St. Joe's. And speaking to him earlier this week, here is a little clip of that interview. He was asked about who he models his game after, and then also which part of his game he feels gets overlooked the most. Rasheer Fleming, Katie, if you will.
Not anybody specific, but I watch guys and I can kind of see myself being like in a position of like a Jaden McDaniels maybe, or like a OG.
What's the one thing about your game you think goes overlooked?
I don't do it much, so I wouldn't call it overlooked, but I would get overlooked, like putting the ball on the floor, because I just don't do it enough. But I know I can. Just put the ball on the floor.
You should defensively, what do you think the best thing is going into the next level for a team that whoever drafts you?
Being able to guard both positions. I feel like I can guard 1 through 5, and I'm willing to do that. I know it's a different type of technique and it's different in how it is in college at a higher level. But
Are there certain aspects of the game where either from scouts or just agents that talk to you about what you need to work on to have that translate?
like any aspect.
Yeah, any aspect.
Shoot my shot. Yeah, my shot. Just because like the range is different. Got to get my arc up a little bit on that. And the space, it's just different spacing in the league. Like it's all different. It's more space. So having like the ability and like the freedom to do a little more when it comes to being on the court.
That is the St. Joe prospect, Rasheer Fleming, talking earlier this week at the Combine. Dave, your thoughts on him and his answer to your question about what part of your game is overlooked? And he said, put the ball on the floor.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting response because he's right. Well, for one, he definitely wasn't doing that. More of a spot-up guy that you would get the ball to, and really good spot-up shooter also known as a defensive guy as well. So he feels like that aspect of his game he hasn't really shown yet. So I'm curious as to how he's going to show that in the NBA. Is he tapping dudes? Like, is he crossing them over, putting it out his back? Or is he just literally putting it on the floor and getting to the bucket? So is there some funk in his game is what I'm asking. So we'll find that out, obviously, when they start playing on the floor, when he gets out there, probably in summer league. So I think that's a great time when guys can start working out certain aspects of their game and showing certain things that maybe the team that drafted them didn't know that they could do. So, yeah, I like that he feels that – I like how he thought about it and was like, no, it's overlooked. Like, yeah, it's something that people aren't talking about a lot. So I thought that was cool. He was also asked, was he talking to the Bulls yet? And he had mentioned that they were definitely a team on the radar that he was going to talk to the next day. So, yeah, he definitely had some conversations with them. So, but overall, I like the young man. You know what I mean? I like the young man and who he is. He's very straight to the point, with his answers. He's not going to give you a ton, but it's just going to give you exactly what it is. And I don't think it's a problem with that.
And I think he's pretty straight to the point as a player, too. 6'8" and a quarter wing from St. Joe's, 7'5" and a quarter wingspan. So one of the biggest gaps between his height and his wingspan is like +9 or +6 or something like that. He's a very, to me, obvious role of how he's going to succeed in the NBA. You mentioned the guys, Jaden McDaniels, OG Anunoby. I don't know that he'll get quite to that level just because those guys are premier defenders in this league, but he's a guy that's improved every year. He was at St. Joe's for 3 years, went from 5.8 to 10.7 to 14.7 points per game in his final season. He rebounds it well, 8.5 boards per game, steal and half, block and half, so you like to see that. And the three-point percentage improved every season as well, 29.7 his freshman year, 32.4, and then 39% last year. So this is a guy who is very much a catch and shoot threes and defensive specialist with good size, good length. He's not going to give you much more. And we talked, you'll be hearing this. It was yesterday. We talked about Carter Bryant and how he kind of factors in to the NBA role. I think it's a similar type of player. He's not as mobile to me in terms of lateral quickness, guarding guys on the perimeter. I think he's like a little bit more of a 4 than Bryant, who's kind of more of a 3 in my mind. But this is a guy who's probably going to go in the late teens to mid 20s and be a really productive role player.
Yes.
And we'll see if he can do more with the ball in his hands. He just hasn't done it yet. I think right now, the thing that I was hearing from a lot of the people at the combine was like, he just hasn't done it. He's going to be a 3-point shooter, and that's kind of it. And look, if you can shoot 40% on threes, defend at a high level, protect the rim, get some steals, it's a very good player.
Yeah.
So I think he will provide value to whatever team takes him. I wonder how high he'll go, because to me, the upside isn't quite there in terms of his ability to create shots. But I mean, you asked a great question, and maybe there is more there.
Yeah.
I like the way that Danny Chow, the Ringer, phrased it in his mock, which, by the way, most recently has him going 23 to the Pacers, talking about that overlooked part of his game, put on the ball on the floor. Chow said there's an easy retort there as to why we haven't seen a lot of isolation or ball handling from Fleming in his career at St. Joe. You dress for the job you want. Fleming will be a finisher in the pros, so that's exactly what he was in college. If the rest of his game translates seamlessly to the NBA, a legitimate floor spacer, shooting league average from deep and offering serious weak side rim protection, the return of a team's investment could be massive. Shout out Young Spathers. Also, player comps chart, the center circle in the player comps chart for Rasheer Fleming by Danny Chow is a question. What if Taj Gibson shot threes?
Whoa.
And I saw that, and my heart exploded into a million pieces.
This all makes sense now.
Yo.
I get it now.
Yo.
Okay.
A 3-point shooting Taj Gibson?
Yeah.
Give me 9 or 10 of them, AK.
This all makes sense now. I get it 100% completely now. Now I see the method to the madness.
But you look at the physical tools, the measurements, and what he did in his body of work in college, you're like, that's a solid comp.
No, he is, man. And he's a pro. Like, when I watch him play, like, I'm like, that's an NBA player. That is a pro. He's not going to do anything to put you in a bad position. He's not going to make those huge mistakes. He's going to stay within. He's like a 2-step on the dance floor. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm just staying right here with the 2-step. No, I ain't going to get crazy with it. There'll be no backflips. You know what I'm saying? There'll be no windmills. I'm going to keep it smooth, baby. Just keep it here with the 2-step. And I'm going to hit these jumpers, and I'm going to play this defense, and that's all you're going to get.
It's like Will Smith talking to Kevin James. What, hitch?
Oh,
he's trying to teach you how to do it. He's like, this is your wheelhouse right here. Just
Right.
these 2 steps back and
You
forth.
don't need no pizza. they got food already there. You know what I mean? That's real, bro. Keep your 2-step and just keep smooth, bro. Like, yeah, but I like him, though. I see why Bulls fans really do kind of want him and the fit that he could kind of have on his team. I think I'm more looking for a guy that can be that starter when I'm thinking of that for the Chicago Bulls. I'm looking for a dude that could be that starter at that 3. At that 3, because Modest will be at your 4. So I know they got, as I said, guard central station. I get that, but they need a for real straight up dude at 3. I want a 6'6", 6'7" guy that can shoot and can defend. Like, why that should not be a difficult thing to find. So I think that's what I'm looking at with this. I think he is a great role player. Like, he is a professional, and I think he'll have a nice long career. But in my head, I see him coming off the bench. Happy to be proven wrong by all of this. What the hell do I know? But that's just kind of how I see it. But I think he's a player, though. I definitely think he's a pro.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. Like, to me, if you're like, I kind of already said this with Carter Bryant, but like he fits more into like the Colin Murray Boyles. Who was the other 4 that we talked about? Blanking on the name right now. But
Sorber?
I don't think it was sober.
No.
It wasn't sober. Yeah.
Asengwe. Of just guys that like, they're kind of, to me, slotted as the 4, and you have Modest there. And I wonder how, like, I don't think he's going to be as much of a guard down guy as I think Carter Bryant will be. But I do think he's going to be a really solid player.
Be a
like
pro,
in our draft guide, I think Derek did the write-up for Fleming, and he's got Dorian Finney-Smith as a comp. I think that's a really good one.
That's a really good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
A very useful player in today's NBA.
Without
And
a
you
doubt.
guys on your board have him 25, so right around the same area.
although that's
Might
gonna
be
need
called a
some
reach
adjustments.
if the Bulls were to draft him at 12.
But maybe
we'll
they
see
trade back. I
if-
mean, I think that's an option too that we can
True.
talk about.
I think,
Like,
I think we're going to be talking about that sometime next week. Maybe is the concept of the Bulls trading up or trading down. But even still, there's a whole month of movement on these draft boards.
Yeah.
Let's knock out a couple ads. When we come back, we'll dive into our next Combine prospect interview, Kasparas Jakucionis. Hit the like.
Katie will get you. Sunnyside!
Woo!
Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. It's your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality hydroponics in the city. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. It's your one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. It's Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations in the city, Wrigleyville, River North, shout out, all the way out to the suburbs, Champaign, South Beloit. How y'all doing? And many, many more. If you're just starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands that we know that you'll love, like the Good News, Matt Thing, and the Mendy's. They're also awesome. And if you're a pro, they got you covered with over 100 strains on the menu and with new ones added every day. Oh, you heard what I said. We all know Crescal, Florical, Incredible. That's what they are. Quality and consistent products. Visit Sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. That is not a typo. HICHGO is the code. Use it at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 and over or Illinois Net Card holders. 21.
New sponsor alert. Today's show brought to you by the Hall of Fame app. We've all been there. Your parlay is one leg away, then a relief pitcher gives up a walk-off bomb in the 9th, and you are left heartbroken. Hey, Cubs bullpen, get your you-know-what together. Sound familiar? Yeah, it does. The HOF app is built to fix that. Started by 2 lifelong sports fans who also happen to be Ivy League grads. Humble brag, not so humble brag.
Hello.
HOF makes parlay research smarter, faster, and data-driven. This is not your buddy's group chat full of hot takes.
No.
It's a full analytics engine. The Hall of Fame app gives you access to advanced stats, historical data, and powerful tools to help you bet smarter. The app is built for everyday sports fans, so it's easy and intuitive to use. You'll get an idea of your parlay's chances to hit and identify weak legs of that parlay so you can weed them out before you make that parlay official. Mm-hmm. Whether it's MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL, college sports, the app gives you beautiful charts, clean visuals, and real insight, not just hype. They believe anything the books know, you should know too. Mm-hmm. Because parlays don't have to be dumb bets or luck bets. With HOF, they aren't. With a 4.9 rating in the App Store and over 6,000 5-star reviews, it's safe to say Hall of Fame has already helped a lot of people bet smarter. Plus, our listeners get a free 7-day trial and 50% off their first month. Just download the Hall of Fame app or visit hofbets.com and use code CHGO at checkout. And perhaps the best part, once you've built your parlay, you can send it straight to your sportsbook via one click in the app. No manual entry, no wasted time. The Hall of Fame app syncs automatically with most of the major sportsbooks. Talk about convenient. For a limited time only, our listeners, again, can not only get a free 7-day trial, but also 50% off their first month when they use code CHGO at checkout. Just download the Hall of Fame app on iOS and Android, or visit hofbets.com with promo code CHGO, and you're all set. Living in a Hall of Fame. All right. We roll along on a Friday episode talking about Combine interviews. Hit the like button. The next one is a name that I think came on as he was having himself a heck of a season with the Illini, because there's a lot of crossover of Bulls fans and Illini fans around here. And then a couple of injuries interrupted his season. And I don't think there's been as much talk about this guy among Bulls fans who are talking draft right now. And that is Kasparas Jakucionis. But, of course, there is still that connection. Lithuanian product. Said at the Combine interview the other day, I had dinner with Modest Buzelis and his family at some point, a couple months back. That was solid. Obviously, the AK connection as well. But he is still, even with sort of a downswing to end his season with the Illini, projected lottery pick.
Yeah.
maybe fallen a few spots from, mocks that were happening a couple months ago, but very much so still in the picture. Could be on the board at 12, could already be gone. He answered a few different questions earlier this week at the Combine about dealing with his up-and-down season at Illinois, which parts of his game he's more focused on right now, and also, and I thought this answer of his was pretty interesting, how he's learned about the differences in the game, playing both professionally overseas with FC Barca before coming and playing college hoops with Illinois. Katie, if you will, cue Jakucionis.
Katie, cue him up.
How would you describe your season at Illinois? Obviously, it started off very hot, and then just the way it ended, kind of what were the ups and downs like for you?
Yeah, so definitely there was ups and downs during the season, and I think it's just with the adjustment and just trying to do your best, but there will be ups and downs. It's basketball, and the most important thing is just to learn from mistakes, try to watch film of the bad game, of the good game. Whenever you just watch film, try to improve the areas you need to improve, and just get better and get better.
What is the area you feel like you need to improve the most at this point?
Yeah, so like I said, putting in the weight room, just building strength, building foot speed for the defensive end, cutting down the turnovers, just to make more simple plays maybe instead of trying to do too much. But that's the areas that I've been working on and I'm working on now. So definitely the shooting is also very important to just be capable, stable shooter.
What are the big differences that you notice playing in Europe, playing in Spain, to coming over here and at the D1 level?
The difference, I think, the players' talent and athleticism, I would say, just the speed of the game, maybe quicker decisions to make, and I think I grew up a lot in this, in just making quicker decisions, quicker pass, or playing like point guard basketball, just deciding in 0.5 seconds everything, and try to be the best at that.
That was the Illinois product. Jakucionis talking at Combine earlier this week. Let's start with what he touched on there at the end, the differences and maybe some of the things that helped him as he moved from playing professionally overseas to then playing with Illinois. The speed of the game and how you deal with that. Everybody talks about that. Like Purdue asked Kobe about that at Media Day or at the beginning of this season. Like, do you feel like the game slowed down for you? And people talk about Jakucionis' like sort of special skill part of his pie chart being playmaking and being a floor general and having the court vision and quick instincts to do that and do it well. I'm not sure if you heard that specific tidbit, but talking about like half-second reaction time. Once I get the ball, am I dribbling? Am I penetrating? Am I passing? Am I shooting? Split-second decision-making. And you want those skills if you're talking about this guy being one of potentially a few different floor generals for the Bulls in the coming years, if he's their guy. The other part of that, and you also heard him touch on it in his answers, is working on cutting down his turnovers.
Yes.
Because he had a 24.2 usage percentage this past season, and his turnover percentage nearly matched his very high usage percentage. He had a turnover percentage of 22.7. So can you be that quick reaction guy, that quick reaction floor general who's a gifted passer, and not turn the ball over every other time down the floor?
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, they're just going to get bigger and faster because he's going to the next level in the NBA. What I do appreciate about him was his honesty. It's one thing I like about overseas players who English might not be their first language is there's a lot of fluff that isn't said, that they get straight to the meat and potatoes of what they're trying to convey. Yeah. And you can hear him doing that. Like, he was just being for real. Like, yo, these dudes are fast, like, and big, bro, and I'm trying to get better at it. I appreciated that kind of honesty from him. But, yeah, you're right, Matt. Like, I watched a lot of him, Illinois. It seemed like every game I turned on, he wasn't having a good one. But I know he had really good games, and he's a really, really gifted passer. And he is a guy who wants to win. You watch him on the floor, like, he is aggressive. Like, he is trying to win every single thing, every possession, you know what I'm saying, every pat. Like, he wants to win. And I like that about him a lot. But he's right. Like, his brain has got to catch up to what his body is actually doing. And he's skilled. I mean, we wouldn't be talking about him going in the top 10, top 12 if he wasn't that kind of skilled kind of basketball player. But he definitely, those turnovers and being that kind of guard who is that kind of ball dominant, it's kind of what scares you, a little bit watching him. But in general, though, Will, like I do think he's a good basketball player who can really, really help a team. But I like his awareness and the fact that he knows what he really needs to work on, and he needs to speed up or slow down his mind. I haven't figured out which one it is yet, but he needs to do one of those things, man, to really be a problem on this next level in the NBA.
I think speed up his mind, slow down his body.
Okay.
I think that's kind of the key for him. Jakucionis is really interesting. He started the season really hot. He was making everything.
Yeah.
Very step back three reliant player, but he makes them.
Yeah.
But that kind of opens up those driving lanes for him to be able to put his passing on display, get to the rim, finish, draw fouls, all those things you need to be really good at as a big guard who dominates the ball. He had a really high usage percentage, but kind of the talk around the combine, at least from what I was hearing, is that like there is a belief that he's going to be able to play a little bit more off the ball. And so that combination, I think, is what makes him intriguing to me, is like he can run your offense, but he can also play next to another primary guy. The Bulls have multiple of those. So I don't know what the fit would be like, but I mean, he's the kind of player that like 6'6" guard who can dribble, pass, shoot, who can play on and off the ball. Like that's the kind of player you want to have as maybe not your centerpiece, but like to me, I feel like Austin Reeves is kind of a interesting comp. Spencer Dinwiddie is another one who obviously like has been up and down, but like when you think about the best version of Spencer Dinwiddie, that's like a very good player. And I think the passing is like really special. So I think like if he really figures it out with the step back jumper, he has some, I don't want to go quite to Halliburton, but that kind of player where he's 6'5", 6'6" guard who runs the offense, very good passer, and very reliant on the step back three to open up the other parts of his game. I think he's a really talented player, a really interesting prospect. But I do think that it's going to be, his range is really interesting, I guess, is just because of the fact that the point guard needy teams like, the Mavericks, for one, were a team that would have loved to get him at 11 if they had stayed where they were supposed to in the lottery. Those teams moved up, and the teams that moved back don't necessarily need the guard as much. So I do wonder kind of where he ends up, but his skill set is certainly unique.
Yeah.
I am curious how much the way his season kind of fizzled. Maybe fizzled is too mean of a word, but just, he was dealing with a couple of different nagging injuries. The shot fell off. Like how his draft stock could be impacted by that. And if there's any bounce from, if it has fallen based on what teams see when they take a look at him this past week at the combine. Like people were talking about him maybe even going top 5 at like his peak of like, he was playing lights out for Illinois. They were, getting a lot of national attention, and everybody was like, yo, this Jakucionis dude is incredible. And then all of a sudden he was in that category of like the tier below, Coop, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, like he was right there.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, maybe he'll still go top 10. Maybe he, falls to one of the last couple of lottery picks. I'm very curious. He is a name that I think could have a big range of like, if he gets taken 5th, I'll be like, wow, okay. Somebody still believes in him and that potential. And if he slides into like the late teens, I don't think I would be surprised.
Like, you can see him getting taken at 5th. You can see him getting taken at 15th. Like it can happen for him, but I think that also speaks to just his talent and how he plays, because we're sitting there talking about the turnover issues and his brain speeding up, and all these things. But the fact that we're still like, no, this dude is still, within that top 5 to 15 range, let you know that how skilled he is at the game of basketball. So I think he's got a really solid future. I hope he goes to a place that is willing to grow him, and take their time with this young man. I don't think it'll be here. Too many guards, but we'll see. But I think he's definitely skilled, and he can definitely play.
I do think that like just this exercise of going through the teams, like Utah at 5 could be interesting fit. Washington at 6 could be interesting. New Orleans at 7. They're missing DeJounte Murray for the year. That could be interesting. Brooklyn at 8 could be interesting. Toronto at 9. Like there's a lot of landing spots for him. And I think he's going to be in this group of like Jeremiah Fears, Trey Johnson, of guys that he's competing with for teams. Yeah. And it's just going to end up being like who likes who. But that I could see him going that high.
Yeah. All right. Let's knock out a couple more ads when we come back. Next up, we're talking about Jakucionis' Illini teammate, big fan favorite among Bulls fans looking at the draft right now, Will Riley. We'll talk about him next. Hit the like. Today's show brought to you by Circus Sportsbook. Whatever the sport, you have to bet is Circus Sports Illinois. Circus Sports is sports betting the way it should be. Circus Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds. Those are the ones you want. And exceptional customer service featuring real human beings.
Shout out.
The AI robot customer services can all get bent. They do nothing useful. That's right. Get bent.
Oh, man.
Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, including these epic NBA playoffs we have all been enjoying so very much. You know what makes NBA playoffs more fun? Betting on them. Spreads, props, futures, even in-game betting, Circus Sports has it all. Fun to bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 and older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Big shout out to my man Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake. They are kicking off the summer with a big Memorial Day savings going on when? All month long. Come in today and shop the Memorial Day sales event and drive home with 0% financing for 60 months on select new Chevy models, or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for yourself. And as one of the top selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know you're gonna get a great deal. Plus, that raised price promise, y'all. It lets you shop confidently because a guarantee of no add-ons, no hidden fees, no gimmicks means the price that you see is the price you're gonna pay. You don't have to worry about no price changing, no stressful negotiations, no tricks, no woozies, and for the love of the GOAT,
Wazzies?
no wazzies.
No Wazzies.
Get them out of here.
Get them out.
Go home with your wazzy self. The people at Ray Chevrolet just want to help you get the right vehicle at the right price. Go see for yourself. Visit our partner at their convenient location right on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss out on their Memorial Day sales event going on all month long for 0% financing on select Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Let's drive.
We gone.
All right, moving right along here on a Friday afternoon. CHGO Bulls talking combine interviews. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Do it for Katie. Do it for yourselves. It's the weekend. All right, guys. Next up, we are talking Will Riley, another name that trended upwards as the college basketball season progressed.
Yeah.
His role, I think, got a little bit bigger as the Illini season went on. He earlier this week at the combine media availability talked about his game evolving and his role evolving for the Illini this past year, and also why he made the decision as somebody who already reclassified to enter his freshman year to join this draft class as opposed to going back to school. Katie.
How do you feel like your game progressed over the course of this season? It felt like as the season went on, a little bit more pick and roll reps, a little bit more creation maybe. How would you describe how that went?
I feel like I started being able to show how I play a little bit towards the end of the season. So it was very good to get to experience that. I got to learn how to play off the ball a lot, which I really enjoyed. And, yeah.
With NIL the way it is now, it's not like you had to come out to make money. Why are you determined to test the waters and be a pro at this stage?
I just feel like I'm ready. I'm ready for the next step. I just felt like I was ready. That's the best way I can put it.
Whose advice did you rely on?
It was my own advice, yeah, for sure.
All right, that's Will Riley, the freshman from Illinois, talking about his role evolving, answering your question, Goat. Goat, you and Derek Bodner, shout out to Derek, PHLY Sixers, helped you with this gigantic, beautiful diehard draft guide that we're perusing right now. You can too. Sign up to become a CHGO diehard. If you are already a diehard, you're smart. Congrats. Go check it out. allchgo.com. You have him 19th. A lot of different NBA media outlets across the board have had him as a name that is going up as opposed to down over the last month or so in mock drafts. Ringer currently has him 20, so like right around where you guys have him. What is it? Is there one specific thing that you think has led to him going from being a mid-second round guy a couple months ago to now people talking about him going maybe just outside the lottery?
I'm tinkering around with my board as we speak. I just can't get it right. But I think the interesting part about his season was that he progressed as a shot creator over the course of it. Early on, it was a lot of catch and shoot. And then as the season wore on, and as we talked about with Jakucionis, struggled handling the ball, struggled running the offense. Will Riley got a lot of those reps. And he was able to show you that he can make plays off the bounce, both in terms of passing, but mostly his scoring and driving, which was really impressive. He's got a really good shot, like a sweet stroke. His base is like a little weird, and I think it's just because like he doesn't get his feet set consistently every time. If you watch him, like he's got like a very narrow stance. His feet don't always like start and end the same way. And he's just kind of like tall and upright. And it's been honestly very impressive to watch him make some of those shots considering all that stuff. So I think he's very, very thin right now. And once he gets bigger, let me say this, he's very thin right now and he was able to succeed in spite of that. And so once he gets bigger, I think he's going to be a real problem. Driving, like he's not able to take any contact, but somehow he's still finishing really creative shots around the rim. Getting his feet set and having the strength to follow through shots through the base and the core, I think is going to be huge for him. So I was excited about him. I do think he's very raw. He's skilled. It's not like he's raw in the sense that like Noah Asengwe is like, he has a lot of physical tools. He can jump high and run fast and dunk the ball. But that's kind of it right now. Will Riley is very smooth. He can dribble a little bit. He can finish. He's got these like, long strides getting into the rim, shooting like these high floaters off the glass, scoop shots. Like he's very creative, but he's just like physically a ways away. I mean, he's thinner than Modest to me. So I think he could be a player. I do think he'll probably go in the late teens to mid 20s. I think I have him at like 21, 22 right now. So I think he's a very interesting upside bet. And especially when you're that size, to be able to shoot like that, complement players and also create, like that's a very valuable thing. But to me, and maybe this is just like imagining it through the Bulls lens of like, they're going to want guys that can be a little bit more productive today because they're trying to win today. I just feel like he's kind of going to take some time to really see the fruits of what he can be. But I am really interested.
Yeah. Our fearless leader, Jake Flanagan, months ago called me in one day. It was like, hey man, I need you to watch this, come see this. And it was video of Will Riley. Like he just wouldn't stop talking about Will Riley and just how good he was. So, and you know me, Will, like even though somebody shows me the video, I'm like, okay, I'll go home. You know what I mean? Let me go watch it and let me go check him out myself. As it was funny because watching Kasparas, like I said, when I would watch him, he would always not have a great game. Every time I watched Will Riley, he was having a game every single time. Everything Will said is absolutely correct, which is why I was so intrigued by him, because it's like, how does this working? I was like, how is this working? But it's working really well. I thought he was really smart. He did a lot of stuff free throw line extended. That's why all those floaters and those kind of things were coming from him. But he would come off the bench and for real have moments where he was the best player on the floor. And I thought that's what stood out to me more than anything. For him to be able to play in that less of minutes and still be as dominant as he was, I was just really impressed by him. Now, I agree with Will. Like the Bulls have a win now kind of mentality. And so I think wherever he goes, he's going to need some patience and some time. And I don't think the Bulls are, want to do that with another project. But I think wherever he ends up, if they just give him some patience and time, I think he has a skill set that is something that is really rare, to be for real with you, and at the size that he is. So if you can add some weight to that and just, some, bumps and bruises, and running through a few walls and stuff along the way and some time and some experience, I think you got yourself a stew going. Like you got yourself a real player right there with Will Riley, man.
The self-creation of his shots and Goat, I think you mentioned it in your guide notes that like he will need to get stronger and or improve his ball handling to take advantage of his release as a self-creator who's maybe not as lethal with the Illini behind the arc as you would want. 32.5% I think he shot, but he was a 40% shooter behind the arc his senior year of high school. So another one of those examples of like, should we have been as worried about Modest's, G League shooting splits in his, 1 year between high school and the pros? Well, Modest certainly shot that ball confidently, and his frame and his form looked good on those shots. So if Riley can improve his ball handling while he's also working on his body so that his shot creation can be that lethal as opposed to getting, knocked around before getting to his shots and his spots. I think there is some solid potential there. I think I right now would say I'm less enthused. Like maybe this is a Bulls trade down scenario.
Okay.
I've seen plenty of Bulls fans who are like, dude, just take Will Riley in the first round. Just take him. Shout out to our guy Herb, White Sox Herb. He is also on that Will Riley train.
Yeah.
Lots of Illini fans are.
Yeah, they are.
I see a bit of a project here.
Yeah,
and I see if the Bulls stay at 12, I see a reach.
I feel like he would have been a great person to pick with that Grizzlies pick had the Bulls made that trade because 18 is the perfect spot for him. But I agree with you, Matt. Like he's just raw, and I think that's not a bad thing. But it's just like, what kind of time frame are you working on?
Exactly.
And to me, with where the Bulls are, I just feel like they're going full steam towards a higher floor.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be able to contribute to that floor today.
Exactly. They need something to contribute today. They've made that abundantly clear.
Just
so
not how we would do it.
Yeah.
Also, could help but notice that one of those names you listed in your player comps, go, of course, Cam Johnson, Keyshawn George, Bulls legend, Otto Porter Jr.
Oh.
But like when he was good on the Wizards.
Okay.
Or an important piece to a championship Warriors team.
He was
Remember
an important piece.
No, that was like when he couldn't move and he had
he was helpful though.
He was just hitting spot up threes.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Will's going to be able to do more stuff.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, he's so interesting, man. Like he could really be like an alien kind of player. Like just watching him because you see the stuff he does, like you don't normally see. Like you said, like he's not a dude that's taking that contact inside. And obviously he's not this size, but it reminds me of a guy like Tyrese Halliburton, who, it's just like how, like people watch his game. Sometimes they're like, you're not super physical, but he's going inside and he's scoring. You know what I mean? Like, dude, like, look at the way you shoot. There's no way that's going in. And he's stepping back and he's throwing it up in the ceiling and it's going in. Like, he has such a strange kind of basketball game, but you can't stop it. You know what I mean? So Will Riley, I feel, has that kind of thing to him. You know what I mean? Like, and if a team is just patient with him, and because he's gonna need some weight, he's got to get some chicken parms. Like things have to happen for him like that. But if a team is patient enough, I think they will draft themselves a really solid player.
The other interesting note, and Goat, if you keep scrolling down in this endless information diehard draft guide that you and Bodner have assembled, the underneath key stats and shot types. That's one of the things that several people have noted is that his 3-point shooting was a little bit spotty in his one and done year with Illinois, but he shot better when he had a hand in his face, which when you're talking about, being a lethal shooter at the NBA level could be an encouraging thing.
Yeah.
On open catch and shoot situations, he shot 29.3%. On guarded catch and shoots, he shot 36%.
Strange.
That was surprisingly common. I manually input all this data. It was
flex.
Tedious. Not a flex.
Oh, that's a flex, Will.
I think it sounds like a complaint more than a flex.
It's a please go buy this thing because it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was almost common that guys were better with the hand in their face, and for some of them, better off the dribble. For Will Riley, 31% on dribble jump shots. That doesn't include, or that includes 2-point jump shots and 3-point jump shots. But only 29% on catch and shoot. And I think that speaks to guys feeling more comfortable playing out of rhythm, having the ball in their hands a little bit, getting into their shots off of the dribble, because you can use that kinetic motion to get into your shot.
Yeah.
As opposed to like having to have your feet set. And that's where the base and the footwork thing that I was talking about comes into play, where it's like he doesn't have that yet, where he has his feet set in the right spot at the right time to be able to get through his legs, his hips, and his arms into that shot and come down in one fluid motion.
All right, well, we'll put a pin in the Will Riley convo there for now. We got to knock out a couple more ads. When we come back, we'll talk about our fourth and final player of the day, a name a lot of Bulls fans are looking at as a potential second-round steal, the big man, Rocco.
All right, Rocco.
Zikarsky. Hit the like button.
Rate.com. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, that rhyme, or just deal with money stuff in general, then you're a regular person. And you know that it can be a whole lot. That's why we got to tell you about the Rate app, and it's seriously a game changer. You can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes without the need to jump through millions of hoops. Why you want to do that? And if you're thinking about a home equity loan or personal loan, you can secure one in under 15 days. That is amazing. The Rate app also helps you find the best homeowners and auto insurance based on what you actually need. The whole thing is powered by AI. The only time Matt will allow this. Why? Because it's smart and it saves you time and money outside of the robots who will just waste your time and your money. That's why he hates them, but likes this. And something that is an unexpected bonus, they've added over 800 free wellness videos. So stuff like meditation, breathing exercises, stretching, basically tools to help you feel better mentally, physically, in your body, your brain, and your mind too. So if you're stressed out about that loan or that mortgage, or seriously, just life in general, just let the Rate app handle it. And once that's covered, you can hit one of those free wellness videos and get yourself right. So it's the one app that helps you with both your wallet and your well-being. Download that Rate app today to get started. You see that on your screen? Scan it, click it, open it. The Rate app. Get it.
Today's show also brought to you by Lucy. Are you thinking about leveling up your nicotine routine? If so, you got to give the fine variety of products at Lucy a try. They've got nicotine gum. They've got nicotine pouches. They've got pouches with a little extra burst of hydration and flavor that they call Lucy Breakers. Wow. These are mine. These are my go-to, my favorite flavor, apple ice. I tried a bunch of different flavors and found my favorite. You can find yours. They got fruity ones. They got minty ones. They got espresso. All these different flavors in their different products, the gums and the pouches. It gets delivered to your door once a month. Eliminate all the annoying trips to the gas station, the bodega, your local discount tobacco outlet. No, it's annoying. How about just sign up for a Lucy subscription and have it delivered on routine to your door? That's what I've been doing for the last several months now, and I freaking love it.
Smart man.
You will too. Lucy also has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind, so there's no risk there. You can also alter your order, your subscription, exactly what it is you're ordering, how much, what flavor, the amount of nicotine per pouch or per gum between your refills. So there's no worry there. What are you waiting for? Give it a try. I promise you will like it. Just head to Lucy.co and use promo code CHGO 2025. And guess what? You're getting 20% off your first order. Again, that's Lucy.co, promo code CHGO 2025 to get 20% off your first order. Level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age. Every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. All right, gentlemen, we have reached the last player for now that we are going to talk about, who was present, doing drills, getting measured, and talking into microphones this week at Chicago's NBA Draft Combine. It's the big man, the legit 7-footer and then some from Australia, Rocco Zikarsky, who talked about growing into his gigantic frame, what makes Aussie basketball players special, and his decision to play in the NBL professionally over in Australia rather than coming and participating in a college program here in the States before going to the league.
Okay.
Katie, if you will.
Just, all the tangibles, all the measurables, like I am growing into my body, it's a big frame to fill out, but I think I'm finally starting to come into my own, and yeah.
What advantages does it have to be Australian and going through this process?
That's a good question. I think being Australian, you get this sort of label that Aussies are tough, we're hard-nosed, and I think Delhi really pushed that narrative pretty well. But yeah, I think the advantage of, Aussies, we're friendly people, we're exciting people, but also like we get after it, like I love basketball and yeah, I'm excited to show that.
Rocco, how close were you to potentially playing in college?
It was definitely on the table. Ultimately I decided that it was better for me to stay home. And I'm a homebody. I love home, and I watched the NBL growing up. So when the NBL became an option for me, it slowly crept into my mind that I would love to play for a team that I watched growing up. And, you know, there was lots of support around that. And I got to play with Aaron Baines, who was another one of my idols growing up. So for me, I think that was really, really special.
All right, there's Rocco.
Rocco,
the big man that a lot of Bulls fans are talking about. A lot of our Aussie members of Bulls Nation who are very much on the Giddy hype train have thrown Rocco on board the Giddy Bulls hype train. This is a package deal, apparently. But hey, it is true that the Bulls are looking for their post-Nikola Vucevic answer at center. We've talked a lot about Malawaj, about Queen, about maybe some of these like stretch combo 4-5 guys that are projected to go in the first round of this 25 draft class.
Yeah.
Rocco is a legit center.
He is huge, Matt. I mean, when I was standing there and I did the interview, after it was over, I went and looked up his age and I was shocked that it said that he was 18 years old. I was shocked because I really thought this dude was like 20 plus. Like for real, man. Just from his maturity. He's also on my all interview team as well.
Yeah.
He did a great job in that interview. But just his maturity and how he spoke, but the size. Like when you're big sitting down, damn. You know what I mean? Like that dude is huge, man. And he's massive. Shout out Spathis. But watching him in the combine and how he moved, he knows how to move as a big man, but it feels like he moves in a way that can adhere to what today's game is. You know what I mean? So, yeah, 7 foot. Yeah, I'm strong. Yeah, I'm big. But I can definitely do the other stuff that teams need these big 7-footers to do nowadays. He definitely knows he has things to work on. He talked about just being from Australia and what that really means. And Andrew Bogut, he said that all the guys from Australia are really connected and they all kind of talk to each other. And he mentioned Andrew Bogut when he was saying those things. And he even mentioned Luke Longley as well as the guys that he, can speak to at any point in time. So yeah, man, like he really reps his country hard and he feels like, being from Australia, you got to be that tough guy, because he mentioned that too, like being strong and because they have a thing about being tough and being Australian, playing in the NBA. So I just like his, makeup mentally. I like that aspect of his game. It's something I don't really love, but I think he'll be a solid player just because he knows how to play as a 7-footer.
So you guys keep saying 7-footer. That's selling him a little bit short.
Yeah, fair.
He measured 7'3" without shoes.
Yeah,
with a
7'3" without shoes.
Without shoes.
Without shoes. Yes.
With a 7'4" 1/4" wingspan. So this is a massive human being.
I just can't say a 7'3". That's I just went with 7 foot.
Yeah, he's basically as big as Zach Edey, who measured 7'3.75" last year.
Also huge.
Also huge, but wingspan not quite as big. But like, it's hard to move when you're that big.
Yeah.
But he does feel like I do need to do more homework on him. I haven't watched a ton, but he feels like he's going to be mobile.
Yes, he is.
He did not shoot it well at the combine, only 6 of 25 on spot up threes. But like,
he was 1 of 6 in 2 seasons for Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like
total.
You watch him and you see the touch. Like, you got to be careful with all these bigs right now. I mean, every year, rim rolling center has a good showing at the combine, shooting 1-on-0. Like catch and shoot threes, and then people get hyped, they get drafted higher, and then it never happens. So like you got to be careful with that. But it's not like he's completely incompetent there. Like you could see the outlines of it if he really works hard on it, and that's what these guys have to do at this point in time. Like that's where the NBA is going. You have to be able to shoot it, and I think he could potentially develop that. But even if not, I mean, he's just so big and mobile and able to protect the rim at such a high level. I think he's probably a 2nd-round pick right now. Bulls have 45, so maybe he falls to them there. And again, I think that's where it's interesting about like drafting a Queen or Malawach or Sorber with 12 when there's some interesting players in the 2nd round that could potentially be had. You think back to the Daniel Gafford pick when they took him in the 2nd round and he ended up being a player. I think that's kind of where you like taking those swings, and Rocco Zikarsky fits right there.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, I do like that we can extrapolate his Brisbane stats. Shout out Basketball Reference, because when you look, like I don't know if it was just his role with the team or just the trends of that league. His first season with Brisbane, he played just 7 minutes a game.
The NBL teams are usually not like letting young guys rock out.
Right.
They're really just not.
His second season with Brisbane, that increased, but to just 11.8 minutes per game. So his per game stats, playing professionally in the NBL are very underwhelming. But when you look at his per 36 minutes for Brisbane, his first season, 16.7 points per 36. His second season, 14, so a little bit of a dip there, but that's just because he played more minutes, so you stretch that out further. And, he was a 16 and 11 guy, and then a 14 and 10 and a half guy. Also, his first season with Brisbane, per 36, 5.2 blocks. That fell to his second year as he played a little bit more, and that average fell a little bit. But, as we have watched some Mitchell Robinson hack-a-shacking going on in these playoffs recently, I can't help but notice he's taken a considerable amount of free throws in his 2 years with Brisbane. He is a 53.7% free throw shooter through those 2 years.
Not the best.
Not the greatest.
The best.
I don't care if we're not talking about this guy as a floor spacing big in the way that we kind of want all of our bigs to be in today's NBA. There are exceptions to that rule that are allowed to be exceptions to that rule.
Sure.
You're barely a 50% free throw shooter?
Yeah.
I don't love that.
Yeah, it's
Thank you, Katie.
on par. But it's not cute, but I think when I think of him, I think a guy off the bench, when I think of Mr. Robinson, that's kind of what I think of, a guy off the bench who can still contribute to your team, because Mr. Robinson definitely contributed to where the Knicks are, you know what I'm saying, in a position to actually win the series. Go Celtics. But I think just the makeup of how he plays and, the stuff I believe he'll work on in his game to improve. He may get that free throw shooting up I'm not saying he's going to get to 70.
He was 9 of 10 at the combine.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to get 70% or something like that. But if he gets, close to the 60s, that's serviceable stuff. And, hack-a-shack stuff, that means your team is in the playoffs. I don't think that's a regular season thing anymore. I feel like that's more playoff-oriented kind of situation.
For sure. Unless you're trying to run up the score in the
exactly,
in-season
unless,
tournament.
mid-season tournament
In-season tournament, baby. Take that, Bulls.
Twice lost. But I think that if that's the case, then I can live with that, because that means we did some winning and got to this playoff round to where you're going to put him in that position to do that. And let's say, he can surprise you. Maybe because it's money time, he might be able to hit some free throws or not. They did it with Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert hit his free throws. You know what I mean? Like, you can be in that situation and still succeed. But I just like his makeup, man. He is a true straight-up center. And I think he can fit on a lot of teams in a nice backup role, who could probably cheat as a starter depending on injury or what you're really trying to do out there. But, yeah, I think he's solid, though.
Man, you talked about how you couldn't believe how young he was, Dave, when you're sitting there at the podium, listening to him
look
talk.
at him on that.
And just the fact that he's gigantic. We have now, over the last few years, gotten to a point where we're talking about NBA draft prospects who were born after the millennium passed, and I'm like, oh, dear God. When I see these, date of births, they're
it's
like,
almost 2010.
2002. Rocco was born in 2006.
Shout out.
And that hurt me when I saw that.
Hurt your soul?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, dear God.
That's what life does, baby. It goes on.
That's not okay. That was a newborn baby infant while I was like a delinquent living off of cheap beer, cheap pizza, and weed in college. Like,
don't worry, man. When the baby's born in 2010, you'll be feeling the same way. Yeah. See that? And then 2015. Yeah. It just keeps going. But that means you'll still be here.
Cooper is the youngest player in this draft. He was born December 21st, 2006.
There you
Almost
go.
2007.
A lot of 2006 and 7,
crazy.
babies.
Yeah, and Rocco was July of 2006.
Shout out. All right, Rocco.
Oh, those summers between college years. Boy, were those fun. My God.
You wouldn't trade those for anything.
No, I would. Well, maybe I'd trade Rocco Zikarsky for him. That's going to do it for today's show. That's going to do it for this week. Hope everybody enjoyed. In case you missed any of the shows from this week, go back and give them a watch. We covered a lot of ground on the NBA Draft Combine's coverage, talking about measurements, analyzing some of these guys as potential fits for the Bulls, and also several of them, what they had to say themselves, media availability at the Combine on Wednesday here in Chicago this week. Really fun week of shows. Hope you all enjoyed it. And we'll be back next week with another fun full slate for you. Goat, this is farewell for a brief now.
For a brief now.
Don't worry.
Got it.
We'll hold down the fort next
Hold it
week,
down.
including hopefully a couple of guests that we've already got penciled in, who y'all know and love. Follow the GOAT, Will Gottlieb. Become a diehard if you aren't already, to read and dive into head first the diehard draft guide. Y'all, you are missing out if you aren't diving into this. It is incredible. It is a labor of love, and I have spent a lot of time on it over the last few days, learning all kinds of fun things. Big days
And there will be
about
updates.
BAWL Sports on Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO Bulls.
Updates.
Shout out to the tireless, ever hardworking Katie Duffy.
That's not supposed to make you cry.
We will talk to you next week. Have a great weekend, Bulls Nation. See you, Be good.
Love y'all. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.